All right. Today I'm gonna show you how to build a custom Shopify section, uh, more or less from scratch, but also more importantly, or perhaps more usefully, show you how to add multilingual support for it very easily. If you've ever built a section for a theme that needs to support many different languages, today I found myself going through language by language and doing translations and thought, oh, this is really boring. So I've built something that we will get to, um, that you can use to quickly generate all the translations needed for a Shopify section, with the formatting more or less that it needs. So let's see. I am, yeah, what section to build. So today I'm going to, um, let's see. Let's do something real simple. I'm just gonna build a a row of images. So this is like there's a custom theme I'm working on to start selling some stuff. So stay tuned for that. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and just make a little placeholder section here that I'll put in my homepage. That'll have an image, a title, and a link to it, something that it will link to, and I'll just basically mirror this layout. So show you how to build something very similar to this. Oops, something very similar to this section, from scratch, and also provide multilingual support. So without further ado, let's see the way to get started here. Let's see. Go into your Shopify admin. Of course, this would change. Normally, I do my theme dev in Sublime, um, but just for the sake of accessibility, I'm going to do everything here through the online admin and code editor. So let's see. We're going to start from scratch. So there'll be a little bit of HTML. There'll be a little bit of CSS. And for this, I don't think we should need any JavaScript. It's going to be pretty straightforward. You can see where I was working on some other ones. Okay, so let's see. So first, what are we going to be doing today? Section. So create a new section. What should we call this one? We're going to keep it simple and do simple image grid. Naming conventions. Okay, let's see. So bada boom, it gives you this little layout automatically. Well, not layout per se, but you know what I mean. So we're going to go ahead and call this one, you guessed it, simple image grid. So this right here, dot liquid, means this is going to be processed into a HTML section. That's going to be what the output is. So HTML will live up here. We'll go ahead and give it a section. All right. Oh, nice. It has a little autocomplete for us. I always forget the features here in the auto editor, but it actually is pretty nice. All right. So right now we're going to go ahead and just to get things started, I like to usually do this as just kind of a little sanity check, so we can start looking at things as soon as possible as well. And I'm going to go ahead and just hard code in here, give it a little heading, make it big, simple image grid so that we can see it. So that I'm going to go ahead and save it. So that's the basics of a section. If we were to put this section into a template or something, like say put it at the bottom of the home page, which we'll go ahead and do. Section simple image grid index.liquid is the home page. So now when I preview this theme, I have added that to the end of the home page. So if you go all the way to the bottom, simple image grid, nice and big, there it is. Okay, so the way that sections are used and populated with content is through this other thing, customize theme. So I'll show you how that will look, and also use this to explain the difference between what I would generally call like dynamic or static sections. But I think some of that's changing in the future. So I won't go too much into it. Basically, so yeah, if you go into the customizer there, which I just went into through the theme editor, but normally you would go like themes, you can go straight into it with the customize button. But you go here, and then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you see the list of all the other sections. So just like this little slideshow at the top, boom. There's ours down there, and the same thing. But you'll notice that it's not included here. So like these other ones, you can drag and drop. Not so with this one, it's actually outside. And the reason for that is that instead of it being a section, well, basically because we just hard-coded it, we added it manually to the end of index.liquid, the template, and so it's locked there at the bottom after all the other stuff. Those other sections are output in that content for index. So we can't add it like this, and we can't use multiple of it. So it'll be locked into static data if we do it this way. So what we're going to go ahead and do is make it a dynamic section. And all that requires is adding a preset attribute here, which we're about to test all my recollections. I think it's like this. And then you need a name, which we'll use simple image grid. And then it needs a category, which we'll call custom. Make that capitalized. And then it needs settings, which are basically going to be the default settings when used on the home page. This is another object, I believe. And inside that, we have, I think this, let's see if settings isn't required before we go on. Aha, so it's not. Okay, so we'll see if it actually loaded. So what we're looking for is to see if we'll be able to add a simple image grid to the home page as part of like those reusable sections. And that may have done it for us. We may not need to specify any actual preset values, which I was going to pass in a settings object. Oh wait, custom simple image grid, there it is. So now we can add that, but this one you see you can drag and drop, and it would also have separate data than this. We haven't given any values for the data yet, but it would have separate from these two, just as kind of FYI. So all that being done, we're going to go ahead and go back to index, remove this one, so we don't need it, and then get to work on building out the section. So let's go ahead and make sure that we, have this one. So we have it saved. There we go. That'll be the one that we're working on right there. All right, so let's build some stuff in it. Okay, so stuff. First of all, I don't want it to only forever always be called that. So we'll go ahead and let that be editable. And so the way that we're going to do that is by putting in a new variable here. And it's going to be, oh man, it's been a while since I've done this. Name, heading, ID, heading, something's wrong here. Type, always start with type. Type, text, ID, heading, and then label, heading, which I'll come back to later because multilingual. So I'm gonna go ahead and, so now we've added that. I'm gonna show you where that pops up. And I'm gonna go really slow for some of you. This may be elementary, but that's okay. We all got started, and I remember trying to wrap my head around how all this stuff was linked up, and so I'll kind of go through it in decent detail. Okay, so there we go, simple image. Now we've said there's the heading that we've put in, that's the label. The box here for text input is generated by that type, and then the ID is what we use to reference it. So we'll go ahead and put this in custom heading, yay. And don't forget to save it. Okie dokie. And then, but you'll notice that didn't go anywhere, like nothing, oops, not that one. Nothing happened. So, oh yeah, we gotta actually put it in there. So that's where this ID comes in. So right here, instead of having a hard-coded, we'll put in the brackets output tag, maybe. Yeah, I think so. And then we'll do section, because that's what we're making, section, settings from the settings, and then heading. Boom. And so let's go ahead and give her the old refresh. Boom. There it is. So now it's pulling in the value that we just set via the customizer. Okay, so now heading's great and all, but pretty minimal. So let's go ahead and we'll give a little body text here. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to leave it as also plain text field. So you won't have like formatting, but there's another one called rich text you could use. And I'm not going to worry about that right now. So this one I'm going to call subtext, also text, and then subtext. And right there. Section, subtext, there's text, and then there's the subtext. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. But now what we're really interested in is images, yay. So let's, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in its own little block right there. Since we're gonna want these going as a row, I'm gonna use a div, a divider. And then I'm going to keep things simple and say we're going to make a 4. Ooh, okay, so right now what I'm deciding is whether we should hard code in 4 different basically sets of settings saying, okay, here's the title, here's the link, here's the image for a total of 12, or should I make that into blocks, which you could add and remove separately and basically just have one definition for, which would cut down on the number of repetition, but also added complexity of looping through it up here, both pretty minimal. I'm going to go ahead and make this have some blocks. So what we're going to do is the settings are for things that are basically controlled at the section level, but a section can have modular pieces inside called blocks. So I'm going to go down here and leave presets at the end just for convention's sake. Settings, blocks. And this is going to have different types of blocks. So I believe it's an array. Here, again, we're going to be checking my recollection to see if I can make it through this without Googling anything. Or I guess peeking at some other section folder files. Let's see, blocks. So each block must have a type. So type, image, grid. This one wouldn't have an ID because this is essentially a definition. So the IDs will be done like members of this, but not at this level. So let's see. That may or may not work. Let's see, settings, we'll give it, oh wait, settings should be an array, I think. Let's see. We'll just give each of these a little title first. Title, and then label, see if that works. Oh no. Oh, type. Here we go. Name. Grid. That's nice. Helplines. Bada boom. Okay, one away. Not too bad. Okay, dokie. So here we are. Nothing there yet, but let's see what changed in our customizer view. Ooh, add image grid. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little, check out these images. So there's our little paragraph tag. You can see the add image grid, that's where it's coming from. It's actually coming from this, unslugging it, I believe. I'm guessing based on the capitalization. So then the sample name right there, the capitalized version of it, this is actually the default name for the standard block that comes in. Interestingly, you can, this one actually may do it, I can't remember, I can never remember it, but there are some where you get it to show like some of this content as the top piece, which is nice for long lists. So we'll just do image one. So if you call it title, then it does this, and I think it'll automatically pull on the image, which is quite nice. Some more documentation on that would be great on what all you can use. Let's see. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Bada boom. So similarly, we haven't put these anywhere yet, so we're going to go ahead and start doing that next. And inside our little division here, we're going to go for block in section blocks. Notice that we didn't need, it's not section settings blocks. I do that all the time because it's not in settings, it's its own thing. So now that's our new identifier. We'll just do block title there. So that's how we access each of those. And I'm going to go ahead and just put this in a paragraph tag as well. Let's see if we get those printed in section. Let's see. Okay, nothing yet. Block title. Okie dokie. What am I doing wrong? For block in section blocks, block title. Nothing in the page, I'm sure. Oh. A clue. Okay, so you can see the div, and we have the 4p tag, so it's printing out something, but I'm not properly. Ugh, block settings. That'll do, yeah. All right. There we go. Okay, so now we're getting each of those out nice, and see, I only had to write that once, the title, and it's going into 4. So the other option I was talking about earlier is I could have just had this, but like 4 times over, and done it like title 1, title 2, title 3, and then just had P, title 1, title 2, etc. But this block thing is much more elegant. So now let's, without further ado, add a link and an image. So I'm going to get classy with it. I'm going to do simple image grid. And I'm going to keep that short just so we keep our markup clean, but usually I would make that a little bit more semantic. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just put them right above it so that it gets read by the browser before this gets parsed. All right, and so I have a class, so sim, and that will be here, and I'm going to do flex, so we'll flex in a row. I don't care about wrapping. And then inside of here, also maybe a little bit more semantic, but for brevity's sake, I'm going to do another div and make my semantic here. Div class image original. And also sometimes you'll find that simple classes like that will be taken, and you can end up inheriting a lot of rules that you didn't plan for, which isn't the worst thing. Shorthand. So this is in a row, and then each one don't grow, don't shrink, and then try to be 25%. And I'm putting this here just on instinct for some reason. That may not be necessary, but it could be. We'll see. So, you know, it's actually not an image, so I'm just going to do holder. Oh, and look at me, goofing. All right, image holder, the P at the bottom. So image, crucial bit, of course. Type, the type we want to do here is image ID image. So you don't have to worry about scoping or anything like that. So it's fine to use very simple names in here, because they don't. You could have one here called image and here, you know, so it's not like going to clash anywhere. So label image. And then let's go ahead and add the link while we're here. There's another type for that. These types are defined by Shopify. You can find them by Googling section schema types, input schema types. And this one is URL, I believe. Link, because that makes sense to me. And label target. How about that? Okay, so let's see if that looks good. That looks good. And what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to link the title. I was going to wrap the whole image as well, but as I've said, that can also add some complicado, because the link is an inline, and some of the images don't always be happy with it. Okay, so here we go. Block settings. What do we call it? Link, because that makes sense. No other necessary. And then here what I'm going to do, block settings image, and then you output using one of these babies. Not URLs, I haven't met it. Or image URL. Then you pass in the size parameter, which I'm just going to pull whatever size I upload. And then the second argument, you put the alts. No, format. So you could do it like this. This is what I would normally do. JPG. Progressive. Gotta be progressive. And then lastly, instead of writing my own image tag in HTML, I'm going to use theirs. And the first one, one's the class, one's the alt text. And the alt text, I'm just going to test it. Actually, I'm going to test it real quick. Test. Okay. So I'll replace one of those with the alt text from the image, which I'll show you how to do. All right, so let's add some images in here and see where we landed. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and just make these open in a new thing as well. Oh, and also you should put alts on your links. And view image. See how easy it is to be SEO friendly? Okay, so let's go. Oh, get out of the way. Okay. Add some images. Let's pick an image. There's the image picker we saw. Let's get that nice bridge. And let's get a nice link too. Let's just go. Oh wait, I put the view image, so I'm not going to try to. I can actually that could work. Okay, so edit. Oh, these are all linked up somewhere else, so that's fine. So they're already going to have SEO titles, which is that alt text right there. So I'm just going to link these to. Oh, I don't have any policies, of course. Policies. Guides, and then let's get some more pictures. And then more pictures. See how nice these pictures are? They're like perfectly formed. So we're going underground pretty soon. All right, bada boom. So now let's go ahead and actually just peek just so we can see. Good sign, first of all, the images are being output in the page, which is always nice because that means we got the image URL and the image tag, at least partially right. All right, so the alt is the first argument, class is the second. So block settings image alt, and then if we need, yeah, we will say that. We'll go ahead and add, let's call this the image because we're cool. All right, so that's going to be the class, that's going to be the alt hopefully, and you'll see these other great alt texts that I wrote for where I'm actually using this placeholder. Okay, there you go, and class the image. So here we go. First of all, this isn't like wrapping very well at all. Oh no, it is. It's in 4 columns. Okay, lovely. So I'm gonna go ahead and just write some CSS here in the code editor. Or dev tools, I guess, properly. Oh, that's a lot of things. So image holder. Let's see if the max width. Yeah, see, okay, max width was good for something. And all I need here is to there we go, much better. See, one little change, all the difference. So you'll notice that's what the dev tools generated, which is fine. But just for specificity's sake, I'm going to do that. So it'll only ever apply to the image inside image holder inside sim. So you can cut down on scope and issues. Let's see. So what else we got to do? That's more or less it. If you click each of these, takes you to whatever the link you put in there was. There you go. That's bueno. I mean, I think if we throw a text line on here, boom. That's nice. Call that the polish. Always watch your formatting. All right, so there we go. That was part 1. Now I'm going to show you how to make this international. Yeah, normally I put in some margins and padding and other or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and not do that right now. So heading and subtext, title, image, and target, those are all English words. So what if we wanted this theme in a different language, which it does support? How would we put that in there? So basically, instead of passing in a single string, pass in an object with each of the languages like so. So English would be that. And then Espanol is not cabeza. So I'm going to show you now this handy dandy thing that I made so we don't have to do this every time, heading. And then let's go to Spanish because this like sucks. Do this. Don't look yet. Okay, so that's, we would do like this. And then there you go. This heading would be available in English and Spanish. But I'm going to show you how I put together this spreadsheet, which we will use to bulk translate everything that we need all at once. And then with only some minor changes. Don't look at my password, guys. All right, here we are. So pretty straightforward how it works. Language is at the top. Thing, I don't know what they're called, the little identifier string thing. Is over there. And then I have a thing where it'll do the thing. Okay, so what do we need? We need heading. Oops, yeah, no, that's right. Heading, and then subtext is a very like English specific word. Small heading. Is heading an English word? I mean, obviously it's an English word, but you know, I don't know if that's going to translate well. So title, image, and I'm going to use destination, I think, instead. Small heading, image, destination, title. I don't know why I did it in that order. But as you can see, we're using Google Translate to generate everything that we need on the fly. So here, boom, just like that, heading in all the languages, Titulo, Titre, Titulo, heading Uber, Schrift. Okay, so here we go. What did I just copy and paste? Heading. So we're gonna go to heading. Oh, wait a minute, I'm forgetting a crucial step, guys. It's not perfect. It's using those. Actually, I didn't test if this would work because I think Shopify will accept either. I am going to format them correctly though. So I use Sublime Text, go over here, just copied and pasted that, find comma, find all, move so you don't space them over. And this is what it's putting out, sans line formatting. And then I'm going to go ahead and test this one, but the next step would be to just do a find and replace on those characters with standard colons. But let me go ahead and test this. All right, so putting it in there. Nope. Let's see. Oh yeah, you gotta remove it first, or Sublime will like try to auto put it in, and then it just breaks everything. Okay, good, that worked. So there's heading. Now let's do our small heading. Once again, commas, do all, and then these all windows, and then do a little spacing. And that's what we're gonna pass in here. And then title. See how much more fun this is? I guess we could do it in any order. All right, I may fast forward this part, or you can if you so choose, because it does still involve a little bit of manual labor, but hey, a lot better than doing each one of these by hand, if you ask. I wish I knew how to build a little macro to do these same steps. If anyone's like fucking pro at doing Sublime macros, like hit me up, man. Because if I could easily automate shit like this, that would be even cooler. So image. Also, I know I'm kind of like breaking the format. Destination. All right. So now, if you have different languages on your theme, or like I'm in your admin, like if you're using a different Shopify admin, like if your Shopify admin is in like Spanish, so instead of it saying like settings here, it says like, I'm not gonna try, I don't know what settings are in content though probably. But you know, if all this was in Spanish, then like this image is now gonna say whatever I just put in there is now gonna say Imagen. So that's how you make a Shopify section with blocks and some light styling, but with full multilingual support with whatever languages you want. So I'm going to put that spreadsheet up there online for free. Feel free to use it in your own projects or whatever. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.